On this video, I'm gonna share with you 7 things that I no longer buy. And guess what? If they are waste of money, and probably you're buying those things, I stopped buying them for the year 2025. And I can tell you, so far I'm making this video around July, and I have saved quite a lot out of not buying those things. Let's go ahead and check out what are these 7 things that you shouldn't be buying right now. Don't forget to go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you also leave a comment on this comment section. Are we together? The one thing that I no longer buy, number one, I don't buy friendship. I don't buy friendship. Okay. I know it doesn't make sense just the way I've written it. Sure. What does it mean? There's something I told you some times back. I don't know whether you remember that. There are some expenses, we call them the fit-in expenses. Fit-in expenses. What are those, Joseph? Fit-in expenses, they are costs that you go through for you to have a certain friendship. Let me explain. Let's say you are in a group of people who have cars. And one thing that usually do on weekends is road trips. And sometimes it costs you a lot, but again, you remember, it's for friendship. Then I have to go ahead and do the thing. Let me give you another example. I had a client I met, and not one, not two, not three, 4 of them, and they were ladies. I told them, the year 2025, it's not the year of being in the chamas, the merry-go-round thing, the table banking, where you understand that formation. I told them that you're supposed to be investing your money. I don't discourage you being in chamas, but that money for chamas, you can put it in an investment. And you know what they were telling? All of them were telling me, but now, you see, this is more of a social thing. So now they are avoiding to get out of those chamas because they feel that they are losing the friendship and that social kind of thing that they are getting out of that. Now, that is what we call the fit-in expenses. There are some expenses, or there are some of the costs that you go through for you to maintain that friendship. How many here, you realize that there is a certain friend of yours, they only call you when they need money, you know? I mean, if you were just to sit down and relax, you realized that your friendship is maintained by your money. Some of you even have girlfriend, but that girlfriend of yours is calling you each and every time, telling you, if you don't send me money, then I'm not yours, I'm gonna leave you, and then you are panicking, thinking that she's the only one that you should have, and then you're sending your money there. Now you're maintaining that particular thing by them. You know, I realize there is a lot of relationships that are being kept by money. And then when that, anyway, let me not get there. See, I avoided buying these. I no longer do that. I don't. I don't care if you never become friends. I don't care. But as far as the money is involved for me to buy that, if it's an investment. So, by the way, you know, you can have a friendship whereby you people, you said each and every week you should be investing this X amount of money. It is costing you money, but for the sake of your future, then I will be there. I will buy that. But if it's just a friendship that is costing me money, the fit-in expenses, then that is not mine. I will shake it off like nobody's business. You get what I'm saying? All right. That is one thing I stopped buying. But 2, I stopped buying what we call dead assets. Okay, let me not use the term dead. Allow me to use the term dead due to lack of a better word. Let me just say idle assets. Or let me say this, asset that does not generate any cash flow. Okay, for me, where I am does not mean that forever I'll never buy. But of course, I feel and I believe that one should be focusing on investing on assets that are generating cash flow. For me, instead of buying just an idle land somewhere where it's not making me money, unless maybe it's meant for building my own home in future, when everything is okay as far as the investments are concerned, meaning I'm getting cash flow, then I'm not gonna go for that. I'm not this kind of an individual, and I'm not saying that everyone should be like me, but that's me. I'm not this kind of an individual who believes that if I have money, I should just go around and buying lands and all those kind, thinking that is the only ultimate investment. So I would rather invest my money in crypto. I would rather put my money in things like index fund. I would rather put my money in stocks. I would rather put my money into bills. I would rather put my money into something that is generating cash flow rather than having that money tying down in an asset that is, allow me to say dead, but though it's not the best term to describe it, let me say an idle one, meaning it's not generating any cash flow. I would rather even buy an apartment. I mean, instead of buying some of the expensive homes, for example, instead of buying a land worth like 2 million, I would rather buy this affordable housing and maybe list it out or rent it out or something like that. Like, look for an asset that is actually generating you cash flow, that is actually is an investment on its own. So for me, I ceased doing that. Well, and sure, I can tell you it has helped me a lot. And yeah, I think you should consider that. I think I'm gonna make a whole video explaining about it, but there's a video I made and I said buying land on its own, it is not an investment. That is an asset. True, it's appreciating value, but the point is that's a paper appreciation. So you can only realize that appreciation once you liquidate that. You liquidate that. And how long does it take you to liquidate that? You get what I'm saying? Now, another thing that I no longer buy is that I don't get myself in this what we call entertainment subscription, or subscription that I don't even need or use. You find, by the way, back then I used to have a lot of subscriptions. You subscribe to things like Netflix, you have DSTV, you have, like a lot of subscription that are simply meant for entertainment. Nowadays, I would rather subscribe to things like ChatGPT, like another one and another one and another one, things that I can be able to help me grow and all those kind of things. I'm not saying that you should not entertain yourself. I'm saying if you are to entertain yourself, then consume what we call infotainment. Infotainment is something that is informing you, entertaining you at the same time. Or you can call it valutainment, or whatever you're gonna call it. So that is exactly what I would prefer to subscribe myself into, rather than just buying anything that comes on my way. Because where you are right now, when you're building yourself, you really need to encircle yourself the things that are growing you, the things that are progressing you, the things that are actually taking you from one level to the other, while of course on a positive trajectory. Because if you keep on entertaining yourself, guess what? It's just giving you that dopamine that everything is okay until the reality kicks in. All right, so that is another thing that I stopped buying. Number 4, I stopped buying what we call what do we call them? Let me just check it out so that I can give you the correct term. Sometimes that term confuses me. This is what we call impasse buying. This is where you buy things that you did not plan about them, but then you meet them on the way and you end up buying them. Why? Because probably at that particular time, it is actually releasing that dopamine hormone inside of you and you're feeling happy, and you think that that thing will help you a lot in changing your life, or sometimes fulfilling that what you call the emotional security. You're just walking by. I tell you one thing, sometimes back, for me, I don't buy anything worth more than 1,000 shilling, that is like $10, without a prior planning. My mentor tells me he cannot buy something worth 10,000 shilling. Well, of course, he's doing well in terms of finances. And he told me he cannot be able to buy anything worth more than that amount of money. That's like $100 or something, without him planning for that thing particularly. But then you find there's a group of people, you're seated somewhere, someone is hawking something, and then they show up to your place, and then they tell you, I'm selling 1, 2, 3, and then you end up buying that particular thing. And you did not even plan about it. But there you are, your 1,000 shilling is gone, your 2,000 shilling is gone. Some even of you buy even things worth hundreds of thousands without even you planning. So it is because maybe perhaps your peer pressure, your friends have bought it. You don't even understand why they bought. Let me give you a very simple example. I used to have friends. Sometimes I love to give relatable examples. I used to have friends back then when I was in the, those years. And then of course, I wanted to get into the content creation, and I was already into the content creation, but I had one problem. I didn't have a very good phone that can actually shoot videos, clear videos and such. I didn't have a lot of equipment of shooting. So I knew one thing: for the money I'm getting, I'm gonna sacrifice a chunk of it, set it aside, accumulate it, then ultimately buy a very, very, very nice phone for me to be using it to shoot videos. And immediately when I bought that particular phone, a friend of mine, or quote unquote, a friend of mine back then, saw that particular phone, and guess what he did? He tried as much as he can to as well save and bought that particular friend, or rather that phone. Get what happened? I bought my phone with a purpose, but he didn't have a purpose. His purpose was to compete with me. And that's where people end up doing things wrongly. Why? You end up buying a thing that you do not need it, but the fear of missing out, the fear of being left behind, the fear of being looked upon as if you're not, you get what I'm saying? So you end up getting something. I saw somebody who bought some machinery worth millions of money. I mean, okay, in terms of Kenyan shilling, of course, that means in hundreds of thousands of dollars, just because his friend was minting billions and millions of money out of the roadwork construction and what have you. The guy was left with the machineries there. He doesn't know anything. So this is of what we call the Me Too thing, copy and pasting to your own life. It does not work. It is good when you focus on the things that you understand. So when I talk about you not buying things, impulse buying, or buying things under the influence, a certain lady called me sometimes back. Then he asked me, Joseph, how do I withdraw my money from a treasury bill? I told her you cannot withdraw unless you sell that treasury bill on a secondary market. And of course, it means you're going to sell that at a cheaper way. And she was like, what does that mean? I told her, oh my goodness, why do you want to withdraw your money? She told me it's a money meant for school fees. I was like, oh my goodness, you were not supposed to invest that money on a treasury bill if it was meant for a school fees. You could have put that money in a money market fund where they offer you liquidity. So there was like, I was in a group of my friends and they're all in a treasury bill. So I thought it's the thing and I was missing out. So you can just imagine that kind of naivety. So it is good to make sure that you don't just buy or invest on something that you do not understand. The other thing is that, well, of course, I stopped buying new phones each and every year. You find each and every year new phones are coming out and you find people are chasing out and buying them and what have you. But then if you're doing okay financially, everything is good, you've been savings. Of course, not savings for the phone, but savings for the investments. Actually, guess what? The liabilities, that's another point. I don't buy liabilities. I will explain that point. See, for you to buy liability, they're okay. You can buy liabilities and nothing wrong, but don't buy liabilities with the parent money. If you are employed and you get your salary each and every week or at the end of the month, that money that you get paid, for God's sake, you've traded three things: the skills, the time, and energy. That is a parent money. That parent money should be invested. And then that parent money make the baby money. Now, the baby money, aka passive income, that is what should buy you the liabilities. You shouldn't use the money that you've actually sweat to buy the liabilities, but rather you should use the baby money or the kids of the parent money to buy you the liabilities. Because listen, the liabilities makes us happy. Assets don't make us happy. That's a reality. If you buy a piece of land, there's no way you can sit the whole day laughing. I mean, it's actually, you feel bad because you get what I'm saying. If you go there and build rentals, you feel like, but the moment you buy a car, the moment the moment you engage in things that are hyping you and something like that, you usually feel good. The moment you're buying yourself the latest iPhone, the latest Samsung Galaxy Ultra 26 or 25, whatever they are in right now, you usually feel good and such kind of a thing. Okay, see, now what happens is that stop buying those liabilities. And what are liabilities? Is anything that uses money for it to be maintained. Something like a car. See, a car, it's a liability. First of all, it needs money to be maintained and it depreciates in value. Can you imagine using money to buy something that depreciates in value? And of course, it needs money to maintain it as it depreciates. It's like funding, what can I say? It's like funding something that is collapsing. And you know very well this thing is collapsing, but I'm going to fund it. But of course, I know you can tell me, hey, it comes with certain emotional security and you feel good. And it is true. But now the problem that people make is to buy that thing that it depreciates in value with money that they were meant for investment. And then the thing depreciates in value, disintegrates, and you don't have any investment. That is where we are drawing the line. And that is where we should say you should be very, very careful. Did I leave any point behind? No, not really. Yeah, sure. The last one is take expensive takeout frequently. You go out and you're taking expensive things. I ceased doing that. You're going out and you're taking out very expensive meals and what have you. I'm not saying you should never buy expensive meal. I'm saying frequently, especially when you are not okay financially. When you realize that you've achieved, or by the way, if eating out expensively and frequently, it means your ultimate goal and wealthy, it is okay. I came to realize one thing. I didn't know this, and I'm coming to realize it, that we all define wealth differently. There is someone whose definition of wealth is buying a car. So be it. If that is what you're working for, and if you get that, then everything will be good. So go for it. Say, meaning, some people will define wealth like, hey, if I have a wife or I have a husband and I have bouncy kids and what have you, I'm good to go. That is okay. You go for that. Wealth means differently. the way I define wealth is different from how someone else defines wealth. So it is good to make sure that you toe your line and do that what works for you. This is Good Joseph. At all the time I make videos about this, and this is my number in case you need my services. Go ahead and grab it, shoot me a call or a text on my WhatsApp. See you there.